Israel and Hamas have been fighting an asymmetric war in Gaza. There are many asymmetries in this war, but the strategic asymmetry relates to the very different definitions of victory for the two sides. As I already said, for Hamas, if it survives the war, then it will have won the war. Survival will boost its credibility and legitimacy across the Arab world, especially in the West Bank, where it's been engaging in a power struggle with the Palestinian Authority under Mahmoud Abbas. In this respect, Hamas faces a relatively low bar that promises huge rewards. Given this highly skewed risk-reward trade-off, I suspect it was probably not a particularly difficult decision for Hamas to invade Israel on October 7, 2023. In contrast, Israel faces a very high bar if it wishes to win the war. For Israel, a necessary but insufficient condition for a victory is the destruction of Hamas, to ensure that it pays the full price for invading Israel. This is probably what Netanyahu means when he talks about a total victory. But destroying Hamas' military capabilities is not enough to destroy Hamas. Hamas rules Gaza. If Israel wishes to destroy Hamas, destroying Hamas' non-military capabilities is as, if not even more important than destroying its military capabilities. It is very clear that after more than a year of fighting, Israel has done very little to weaken Hamas' non-military capabilities. And for this, Israel only has itself to blame. This is because Israel, or more specifically the Israeli Senior Military Command, has refused to take over the distribution of humanitarian aid in Gaza. This allows Hamas to take control of the humanitarian aid that it uses to pay salary to its new recruits and control the population. The humanitarian aid is the only economic lifeline in Gaza right now, and Hamas has a near monopoly over where it goes and who it goes to. This is why Hamas has not only managed to stay in the game, but they're even trying to rebuild. The question, of course, is why Netanyahu allows this to happen. The answer is simple. Israel is a democracy, and like any democracy, Netanyahu has to follow the process. The political reality that he faces is that the Israeli left would choose losing the war rather than running the risk of staying in Gaza indefinitely. The reason why the former defense minister Yoav Gallant and the IDF chief of staff Herzi Halevi put up such strong resistance to having Israel be involved in any way in the distribution of the aid is because they worried that this could pave the way for an eventual Israeli military occupation of Gaza. But this war of resistance is finally coming down. Netanyahu fired Gallant in November, and Halevi handed in his resignation this week. Halevi was stepped down on March 6th at the end of the first phase of the ceasefire. I can't know for sure, but I suspect the ceasefire was the price that Netanyahu had to pay to get Halevi to vacate his post. If I'm right, after March 6th, once Halevi is gone, and the first 33 hostages, mainly women, elderly, and children, have all been returned, Israel will move to take away the economic lifeline of Hamas. Whether the IDF will take over the distribution of the aid, or that Israel will hire private international companies to do so with Israeli security protection, it is difficult for me to see the ceasefire deal holding beyond the middle of March. In my central scenario, fighting will resume in the spring.